Here we are with Chapter 7, Ghosts, Humans, and Other Scary Creatures. That was some wake-up call the next morning, let me tell you. Even from inside my little sleeping hut, the music from a loudspeaker outside made my ears tingle and my whiskers twitch. I was still twitching when Aldo stuck his head in the door and said, "Rise and shine, boys! Breakfast in a half an hour." Slowly the blue jays rose. I didn't see them shine, but they got dressed, and when the bell rang, they headed out for breakfast. And there I was, all alone, and wishing Og was still my neighbor. One thing about camp, people were certainly coming and going all the time. I was considering leaving my cage for a little exploration when I heard the bell, followed by the pounding of footsteps like a herd of elephants coming up the path. The door swung open and the blue jays raced into the room. "Humphrey! We had pancakes, sausage, juice, milk, bananas, strawberries," Simon announced in one breath. Then he let out one tremendous burp, which made all the other blue jays laugh, except Brad. "Food was better at my old camp," Brad said, slumping on his bed again. No one paid much attention to him. "Up and at 'em, Brad," AJ said. "We've got to clean the cabin. Maybe we can earn Humphrey for another night." Brad rolled his eyes. "Big deal." "It's a big deal if we can collect enough points over the next 2 weeks to spend a night in Haunted Hollow," Richie told him. "That's the prize for winning the Clash of the Cabins." Haunted Hollow? It sounded unsqueakably scary. I was wondering why anyone would want to spend the night in a place with ghosts. "We all collect points, see?" AJ explained. "It's cabin versus cabin and boys versus girls. You don't want the girls to get a sleepover in Haunted Hollow, do you? And a chance to see the Howler?" "Howler? Did he say Howler?" Just as I was trying to picture what on earth the Howler was, all of the blue jays except Brad opened their mouths and let out a horrendous howl. "Oh!" My fur stood on end, but the guys just burst out laughing. "Who cares about some dumb old ghost?" Brad said. "My old camp had a ghost. We saw him every night." The other blue jays just glared at him. So did I. "My cousin saw the Howler last year," Richie continued. "He said he was scarier than Frankenstein, Dracula, and the werewolf all put together." Just then, Aldo popped his head in the door. "Get those beds made. Clothes folded, shoes under beds. Come on, blue jays, hustle!" Soon the cabin looked exceptionally neat again. When the bell rang again, the blue jays raced out, leaving me all alone again. But almost immediately the door burst open again and AJ raced back in. "I couldn't forget you, Humphrey Dumpty," he said, and he carried my cage down to Happy Hollow Hall. AJ was in a hurry. I grabbed onto the side of my cage and hung on tightly as he told me that he was going horseback riding for the first time. From my bumpy point of view, I got a glimpse of large round things with bullseye targets painted on them, and a whiff of something that just might have been a horse. AJ dashed through the dining hall, past the kitchen, yum, what was Maria cooking for lunch, and into the recreation room. Phew! I wasn't sorry to be back in front of those big sunny windows, and guess who was already waiting there for me? Og, of course. "Augie, old boy, how were things in the robin's nest?" I asked. I didn't expect much of an answer, but he surprised me by doing a very watery somersault. If only he would squeak up, but I did envy his swimming skills. I quickly filled Og in on what I'd learned about Haunted Hollow and the Howler, though I'm afraid my "oh" was a little too squeaky to be scary. I'm sure Og got the idea. We didn't get a chance to discuss it anymore because Miss Mack came in with her friend Katie. "I hope you two don't think you're going to sit around and do nothing all day," Miss Mack told us. "We're putting you to work." I was unsqueakably excited as she picked up my cage and Katie picked up Og's tank, even though I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. We headed toward a cluster of small buildings at the top of the hill, but unlike the other cabins, the one we went into had big doors that opened all the way, so the front of the cabin was completely open. Down the hill, I saw something blue and glistening, like water. Inside, there were tables and chairs and leafy plants and big charts showing leaves and trees and animal tracks and, oh, so many interesting things. Miss Mack and Katie sat Og and me down on a table near the front of the room. "Welcome to the Nature Center," Miss Mack said. "You're the nature part, as well as your new friends." She gestured to a tank and a crate farther down the table. "Meet Jake." I saw a tree branch on the bottom of the tank. Just when I was thinking that Jake was a strange name for a tree branch, it moved. "He's a garter snake." "Very harmless," Kate said. "Eek!" I squeaked without thinking first. "Sorry, but I don't think hamsters and snakes should get too close together." And I didn't like the way his tongue darted about, not one bit. Don't worry, Humphrey, Katie said. We'll keep him away from you. Miss Mac pointed to the crate, which was really a large box with an opening on the side. And this is Lovey-Dovey. She's a mourning dove. We found her in the woods with a broken wing. She's almost healed now. Lovey made a low sound in her throat. Ooh, 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 ooh. I think she was saying thank you for helping her get better. Every day, all the campers have horseback riding and swimming, Miss Mac continued. Then they get to choose their other activities, including classes here. So I was back in a real classroom again. Bring on the students, I squeaked. Then I jumped on my wheel and began to spin, happy, 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 to be going to work again. In some ways, camp was like school. A bell rang several times a day. At school, I learned those bells meant the start of school, recess, lunch period, another recess, and the end of the day. At camp, the bell was even busier. It announced breakfast, cabin cleaning, first activity, second activity, lunch, rest hour, third activity, fourth activity, free time, dinner, and the evening program. Whew! Twice a day, groups of campers came in to take care of the animals. That's us. And learn all kinds of interesting facts about nature. They had a whole class on rodents. That includes me. A whole class on frogs. Of course, they studied snakes and birds too, just so Jake and Lovey wouldn't feel left out. I had to hide in my sleeping hut when I heard some of the things snakes eat. Og and I weren't safe at all. Harmless indeed. Sometimes the campers went out and took a hike, but they always came back laughing and happy. There were differences between camp and school, too. For one thing, I didn't see the same kids all day, every day. Since the kids got to pick their favorite activities, certain nature-loving kids showed up time and time again. Saya showed up every single day, and so did Garth. AJ's brother, Ty, was a regular, too. And Miranda was usually around, but she was also very interested in drama classes. Another difference, there were no tests. I thought this was an excellent idea. Just like the campers, Og and I got a lot of fresh air and lovely outside sounds and smells. Plus, Katie and Miss Mac got everybody, including me, excited about the wonders of nature. Yes, I loved the Nature Center very much. I would have loved it more without the snake. I guess it wasn't his fault, but he made me very nervous. But at least during the day, I didn't have time to think about the skitter, 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 scritch, scritch, scritch sounds. And I tried hard not to think about the howler. But I was always listening for the "Ahoo." Note to self, humans are unsqueakably smart, but they have an odd habit of liking scary things like dogs, cats, and howlers. And that's the end of our chapter. So, next chapter is called Night Owls.